Good morning, beautiful people. I hope that you had a very good week. How big mistakes, fateful mistakes in life happen? How do you cope with these types of mistakes? Let me share today with you two stories. The stories happen in the USA. It involved two women. One is a police officer and the other one is a primary school teacher. If you are an emotional person, I would advise that you do not watch this video, as the stories could be very disturbing. Let's start with the first story, the story of the police woman. We are in a typical day of a police officer, a day where you have to deal with a lot of complaints. You have to deal with some stress. It's late, it's night. After a long day, she's now going back home to try to have rest and be on top shape to start the day tomorrow. She gets into her car, she drives for a few kilometers, and she's right there at her apartment building. She was living in an apartment in a tall building. In the US, you have this type of buildings, tall of 10, 15, sometimes even 20 floors. It was something similar for the police officer. The lady, after parking her car, walked into the lobby. She walks into the lobby, she gets into the elevator, and she's ready to get to her apartment floor and get into her apartment. But that day, she pressed the wrong button. You know, after a long day, you usually have a bunch of ideas, a bunch of issues, jumping around in your mind because you're trying to refocus from work to the other part of your life. So she pressed the wrong button. Nothing unusual. Myself, I live in a tall building, a 19th floor building. And if you have ever lived in those type of buildings, it happens that sometimes you are distracted and you press the wrong button. And usually when you press the wrong button, it's almost impossible for you, once the elevator doors open, to realize that you're on the wrong floor. Why? Because the carpet on all floors are the same. The doors are all similar. The walls are all similar. So usually it's very difficult at first sight to realize that you're not on the right floor, you're not on your floor. When this happens to me, usually I would walk to what I think is the door of my apartment. Usually you would put the key into the door, try to open the door, and then you will realize that the key cannot open the door. And you will try to force it a bit, and then something will seem fishy. And then you will look at the door number of where you're trying to put the key, and then quickly you realize that you're on the wrong floor. That's what was supposed to happen to the police officer that night. The elevator doors open. She gets out, but she thinks that she is on the right floor. She walks toward what she thinks is the door of her apartment on the wrong floor. She gets to that door, and normally the door should have been locked so that she should have had a chance to pick her keys, put that into that door and try to open it, and realize that it would not open the door, and she would realize that she was on the wrong floor. Simple. It happens to many people. Unfortunately, that very night, the story turned out to be different. She gets to the door, but the door is not closed. She's a bit surprised because she left the door of her apartment closed in the morning. So she pushed the door and she sees a man sitting in the couch, and the living room is still dark. The only thing that has light on is the TV. She quickly thinks this is the instinct of a police officer, of someone who has been dealing with criminals for years. She thinks that she's dealing with an intruder. He's trying to rob or do something illegal. The man to whom the apartment belongs is surprised to see an intruder, a woman, late at night, breaking into his apartment while he's watching peacefully his TV. He therefore stands up to try to figure out what's going on. As the man is standing up, as the man is getting up, the police officer thinks that she is about to be attacked. She pulls out her gun to defend herself. The man is surprised. He doesn't understand how is it that an intruder woman gets into his apartment pulling out her gun. Doesn't make any sense. He tried to ask for some explanations. The lady pulls out the gun and boom, shoot. For someone who has been dealing with criminals, shooting in any type of position, when you have someone within close range, it is very hard to miss the target. Unfortunately, that night for the man, the police officer did not miss him. The man falls on the ground. The police officer thinks that she has just taken down an intruder. She turns on the light, but she suddenly realized that the couch is different from her couch. She sees that the TV is slightly different from her TV. She sees that the kitchen table is different from her kitchen table. There is something which does not add up. She quickly realized that she's not in her apartment. From that moment, hell breaks loose. She's fired from her job the following day. She's tried, and during the trial in justice, in court, she was weeping like she never did before. She was weeping, she was regretful, and she even said that she wished so much to be the one killed that very night. After all the drama, she got sentenced to 10 years in prison because she has pressed the wrong button in an elevator. Fateful mistake. I hope that you can still hold on and keep your emotion in check. Let me bring you into another story. This time, we go into the family of a primary school teacher, a good woman, a good wife. She has 2 kids and a husband. She has dedicated her life to care for the souls and the minds of the young ones, of the little ones. We're in August and it's time for school to reopen. School has actually reopened. And it was morning. And remember that we're in August. It's summertime, but summer is now getting close to the end. That morning, the husband, who is the one who usually drop the 2-year-old beautiful baby at the daycare, this morning, the husband did not have time. He was too busy. He was late. He was running really late. As a good mother, as a good wife, in every good couple, the primary school teacher offered her help. Let me drop our daughter to the daycare and then from there I will drive straight to school. So she picks up her beautiful angel. She puts her in the back seat of the car. She drives on the roads. But she's on the road, but her mind is already in school because she wants to get there quickly. She had so many things to do. Remember that that's the beginning of the year. You have to deal as a teacher with so many things. My dad actually was a primary school teacher. He has now retired. So I know what I'm talking about. She drives on the road, but her mind is already in school. Instead of stopping by the daycare before going to school, she actually goes straight to school. She forgot that she has to stop at the daycare. It was quite understandable because her mind, her brain has not processed the routine of dropping the baby. She went straight to school. She parks the car, gets out of the car, locks the car, and goes straight into school. The mother has just left her 2-year-old in the back seat of the car and has locked the car. At that time, it's about 8, 9 goes by, 10 goes by, 11 a.m. goes by, noon arrives, and noon goes by, and 1 p.m. arrives, and 1 p.m. goes by, without for the mother for 1 second to remember that she has left her 2-year-old, her daughter, in the back seat of the car in a hot summer. In the meantime, in the car, it's getting hot. Remember that we're in a hot summer. The car is getting hot. Oxygen is missing. The kid starts sweating. The kid starts feeling hot. The kid starts choking. And at some point, the kids can breathe. The kids can breathe because it's hot. But no one comes to the rescue of the baby. One of the colleagues of the mother, of the primary school teacher, has an errand to do. She goes to the parking to pick up her car, and she has parked next to the primary school teacher's car. She quickly realized in the other car that there is a baby, and she realizes that that car is the car of her colleague, of the good mother, of the primary school teacher. She tries first to unlock the car to get the baby out, but she can't because the car, remember, is locked. She runs back into the school. She's in panic, calling for her colleague to come quickly out because someone, an angel, a baby, is dying in the car. Everyone runs toward the car. The mother opens the car and takes out her baby, who is now unconscious. Everything is tried. Some people are praying God to do a miracle because it's been 5 hours. The people who know how to do CPR are doing some CPR to the baby, and other people are calling 911, while some other people are just crying because they know that it's not going to be an easy fix. A few minutes later, 911 arrives on site, and 911 tries to bring the baby back to life. But unfortunately, it seems that death has already taken the life of the 2-year-old daughter. The mother cries and cries all the tears of her soul. One mistake which has taken part of herself. Life is made sometime of this type of fateful mistakes. All of us make mistakes. What are the mistakes that you have made in your life? What are the mistakes that has now become for you a nightmare at night and still keeps you from living even during the day? What are the mistakes that cannot go away from your face, from your mind, and from your heart? How do you cope? How do you deal? How should you deal with this type of mistakes? Let's have a conversation about that in the next video next week. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you liked the video. If you liked it, put a thumbs up, comment it, and more importantly, share it. Stay bold, trust yourself, trust God, stay blessed. See you next week. Bye.